Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Mid Valley Mercenaries. This episode we're going to switch things up a little bit. Actually, I'm going to do a couple of things that Titus normally does, and me, Talon, and Travis are going to be interviewing Titus for a change. This podcast is a little bit different than what we normally do, but before we start out, we just want to give a shout out to a couple of the people that we were working with and that we are associated with. First of all is Heavy Shot. If you don't know who Heavy Shot is, I don't know if you should be listening to this podcast, but no, Heavy Shot is great. We were lucky enough to go up there and meet a lot of those people, and we're currently working with them, and they're a great company, great ammo. We love shooting their ammo for the last several years.
It is by far the funnest stuff I've ever shot.
Yeah. You guys just used it on turkey the other day. Used that TSS. Or actually, Titus did.
Titus used it on a turkey.
I got my first turkey.
Success.
Yeah.
One shot, one kill.
We'll do a podcast on that.
Yeah.
You got some stories to tell too for this season.
I can tell a couple turkey stories.
Yeah. So anyways, we love Heavy Shot. Another company is Eukanuba Dog Food. Titus could tell you a little bit more about them, but I know he's been feeding Rocky Eukanuba for a while.
Yeah, about 8 months, and it's a 30-20 blend. They do all kinds. They do puppy chow, and they go up to adult, and they do senior. But the big thing that I love about Eukanuba, and again, I iterate this every single time, is the fact that they, I was already feeding Rocky that before they officially started, kind of, I guess you would say, sponsoring or feeding Rocky. And the biggest reason I went to it is because Chris Aiken told me to. He said by far that's what he feeds all his dogs. Huge difference for that. And he also, the big thing I like about it is a chondroitin and glucosamine in it. And that's the biggest thing with dogs is their joints. They start getting, 9, 10 years old, they start getting arthritis and stuff. So it's awesome. And then that 30-20 blend means it's 30% protein, 20% fat. And that fat gives them energy, and the protein builds muscle.
Right on. So last but not least, we got Old Town Canoe. I can't remember if that's their full name or not. Old Town Kayak Canoe. They make all kinds of boats, canoes, fishing vessels, hunting boats, all kinds of stuff. They're a great company. We have several of their... it's like a hybrid model of it's different really. It's a canoe kayak hybrid. But anyways, it's a good hunting boat. They make so many different things, so many different fishing kayaks that I'd love to get. But so check them out. They're a great company made here in the US of A.
That's what makes them good.
So like we said, this podcast is going to be just a little bit different. We're going to be talking about Titus and him flying helicopters and what got him into it, some experiences he's had over the years. How long have you been flying helicopters?
14 years.
So 14 years as a helicopter pilot. So there's a lot to tell, and the reason he wants to do this is because he might be getting out of being a helicopter pilot for the foreseeable future. So if you're like me or Titus, you don't have the best memory. So you kind of want to share the stories before, we might forget some details of certain things. So so let's just start it out. Flying helicopters. I mean, most of the time when you tell people you're flying helicopters, everybody, that's a cool job. Not everybody walking down the street's a helicopter pilot. What drew you to that, and what started your journey down to becoming a helicopter pilot?
I think, to me, from what I remember, like you said, the memory is not the greatest. I wanted to do it since I was a kid. I kind of credit it to probably seeing Vietnam War movies, seeing those Hueys fly around, because that's always been my favorite helicopter is a Huey. And it's just that loud whop of the blades, it's just something that gets me going. And it always has since I was a kid. So I always wanted to do it. But from my preconceived notions, I always thought you had to join the military. Like, I thought that's all pilots, helicopter pilots came from there, and that's what they did. I knew there was airplane flight schools, but I never knew there was helicopter flight schools. Just being younger and stuff, and I always wanted to do it, but then fell into construction, and just kind of all our group guys did, just doing construction, painting, framing, that kind of stuff. And what got me into it finally, because I still had not forgot about it, I wanted to do it, but it kind of seemed like a pipe dream. Like, I'm never gonna do that.
Like out of reach.
Yeah, like out of reach kind of thing. And not because I didn't want to join the military, because that was definitely in my mind too, but as far as doing it on the civilian side. But one day I was driving down, I don't know where I was going, but this is how it all started, actually. I was driving down 99 going north. I don't know exactly where I was going, maybe Turlock. And a truck passed me going, I was probably going 75. They must have passed me going 85 miles an hour in a big old F-250 dark blue diesel. And on that, when they passed me, I seen a helicopter with a phone number, and I was like, I sped up. I was like, what in the world? I think it said flight school. It did. It said Silver State Helicopters Flight School. So I sped up, caught up to him, wrote the number down. And
they're probably thinking, what's this guy doing?
Yeah,
He's
they were
still
probably
getting this.
freaking out. Yeah, and I wrote the number down. And at this time, I was dating my wife now, Sarah. And I wrote the number down, called it right away. I called it right then. And they answered, and I said, "Hey, is this a flight school? You guys, where's this at?" And they're like, "Oh, it's Los Banos, which is like 45 minutes from my house." And I was like, "Really?" And I go, "It's just regular civilian, you can, anybody." "Yeah, what we do is we normally offer a demo flight." And we offer like a demo flight, you come out there, I don't remember what it was, $50, $75 or whatever. And you can bring whoever you want. We fly around for about 20 minutes. So it's kind of funny. I asked my dad if he wanted to go, and I invited my fiance, Sarah, and I said, "You guys want to go on the ride with me? It's something I want to do." And they went, and it was cool. I mean, I was hooked because they put the dual controls in and let me fly, straight and level. I was like, "Oh, dude, this is crazy." Like, I've always wanted to do this. Instantly fell in love.
Hey, real quick, this might be jumping ahead, but how do you describe hovering in place? How would you describe what that feels like?
Are you asking that because you know what the description I always give?
I don't know what your description is. I forgot.
It is. This is exactly how it is. If you grab a bowling ball and you put a BB on top of it, balance that.
Yeah.
Balance that right in the middle and see if you can do that.
Yeah.
That's how it is to hover, because it can go any way.
Mm-hmm.
You can go forward, sideward, backward, angled.
Mm-hmm.
Talon knows.
From experience, it's like you got to be like 3 steps ahead.
It is. That's exactly a good way. And you've tried.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried with the duals
No, I
in?
haven't.
Okay.
You have to do it before it's going
Yes.
that way. It's so weird.
You did pretty good. I remember you did pretty good,
Well,
actually.
At first, you were sitting there, you're like, "Oh, you're not doing too bad." As soon as you said that, I started going, woo, woo. He's like, "Let's try this again." Woo, just going everywhere.
And probably once you get out of control, it seems like it'd be hard to
Oh,
get
it gets
back
worse.
into control.
Oh, it gets
Oh,
worse.
it's impossible
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry.
It was impossible.
I just popped in my mind. I was like, you should describe.
That is exactly.
Describe that.
Is it not?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that like a
Yeah.
good definition?
It's a perfect definition.
You can't just say left, right, or forward, or back.
No.
It's 360 degrees. That
Yeah.
thing can go that way.
Mm-hmm.
And what always happens is the more out of control it gets, the worse it gets. It just never gets better when you're new at it. But anyways, I called that number. I was hooked, and then they said the big number. They said, $69,900. I said, "Sign me up." And that was to get your private license, your commercial license, and your instrument rating, and then your certified flight instructor rating. So you get 4 ratings out of that, which across the country is a pretty basic standard price, what they were charging pretty much anywhere in Florida, wherever you went. So yeah, I signed right away. I didn't even second guess that. Man, got a student loan through them. And the rest is history. I started my first flight school January, 2 weeks before we got married in
How old were you?
2006. So I guess that would have been 22.
And how long was the school?
Wow.
Well, there was no set time on it. It was kind of based on the student. So however much you could dedicate to it and how fast you can learn and get good at flying to pass the check rides, that's how kind of long it would be based on. But I mean, for me, I I went for a year while I was working full time, and I just wasn't making progress because I was only flying like once a week. So doing that, as you guys could see, going out there flying, that's just not enough to like get a grasp on hovering, let alone because what we did is we started in the simulator first. So you're not burning fuel just sitting in front of a computer screen. But believe it or not, it was actually pretty realistic to what it was like trying to hover and fly and stuff. And I think I spent 8 or 9 hours in there, like all the other students. I think there was like 20 in my class. And it's funny because pretty much all those guys, I know them still to this day, and they're all flying for a living too. But they get you to where you can do okay on that screen. And then they I remember the first flight trying to hover. It was exactly like you guys, like anybody I've taken. I've let Josh Webster, Jake Garbo, my brother Thomas, Talon. I'm trying to think if anybody else has tried to hover or not. But
do they take you to a certain height? Because of course you're not going to start off from the ground level.
Well, because that's the big thing is to hover. That's all part of lifting off the ground, right? So what they would do, the very first thing you do when you're in flight school, and some may be different, but this is what we did. They lift off the ground. There's dual controls, right? They lift off the ground, get you about 5 foot, because you could drop down quick or make such a big mistake they couldn't correct for it quick enough, But go to about 5 foot hover, and then it's like it would be when I was hovering. It's just not even budging, And then you're like, oh, that looks easy, and you grab, and you're just like, whoa. Whoa. Some of those flight instructors will just let you get it so out of control. You thought you're like, take it.
But it's only 5 foot off the ground and you're out of control?
Well, no, because as things are happening, you're rising up, you're going down, you're starting to spin. Like it's just because you're doing both feet for the pedals, both hands. So it's just all coordinated movement.
So it's not like an airplane where you have I haven't never flown an airplane. But how many more controls does a helicopter have versus an airplane?
Well, an airplane.
You've done both.
Yeah, an airplane has a yoke, which you can go left, right, and pull forward and back, right?
Okay.
And then you got your rudders for your feet, and those do kind of two different things. They'll be your brakes. There's more to that too. But if you were to go from helicopter to airplane like I did, it's not as of a coordinated thing. But if you were to start up fresh, anyone here in this room, and go straight to that, it'd be a lot because you got your brakes on, I believe, your toes. So if you tilt your toes forward, you're hitting the brakes on an airplane, and then you kind of use more of your heel when you're adjusting your rudders, and that's more like once you go over a certain speed. I'm not gonna get into the details of that, but anyways, it's coordinated either way.
Yeah,
I mean, look at it. But the thing is with the helicopter, me describing that with the bowling ball and a BB, it's just it can go so many more ways and go wrong so much more than an airplane. You know what I mean?
So everything with flying has to do with hours. What the school require on hours wise, and like what do jobs require and all that? And where were you at before you got a job or got deployed? Because I don't remember that timeline.
Yeah.
Because I know you were in the National Guard and you got sent to Afghanistan, and although you weren't flying, you were in a helicopter also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I got in in 2008 to the Army National Guard, the California Army National Guard, and I got out in 2014. But I already had, when I went to Afghanistan, I think I already had, flight hour wise, I think I had, if I remember right, I want to say I had like 4,000 hours or something like that.
So you were flying, you were working for John.
Yeah. No, I was already working for Blair's when I went.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But, the thing is with flying helicopters, by the time you get off, you have 0 hours starting flight school, right? By the time you get done and get all your ratings done, you're usually around 200 hours, and that will get all your ratings. Well, you think at the time it sounds like a lot of hours, but it's just not even a drop in the bucket. But you learn a lot. You do a lot of things. Most guys go into flight school. I actually almost took a job out of state, but what happened was this company had embezzled a ton of money. They had I want to say they had 200 helicopters. They were spread all over the United States, multiple flight schools. I was going to take a job for them as an instructor back. I don't think nobody knows this, in the Midwest. I don't know why it was. What happened? It was probably God that we didn't do it, because literally when I graduated flight school, 2 weeks later, the feds came in and shut that whole school down.
Wow.
That guy had taken all that money and ran to a foreign country, couldn't find him. And the feds come in and shut that whole company down.
Wow.
I mean, I barely got done time. The good part of that is I never moved. But thank God, if I would have been a couple weeks early, I would have moved everything back there, my family.
And then they would have shut it down.
Yep.
Oh,
You were
man.
stuck.
And I think we had Vivian. Did we have Vivian yet? Or she was pregnant or something. I can't remember. But anyways, yeah, that would have been a bad deal because then we would have had to move right back and try to anyways, it would have been a mess. But what it was is I was driving down the road one day. Never once in my mind ever did I think about crop dusting.
So you didn't go into flying
be a-
helicopters to be an ag pilot?
No, I went in to be a medevac pilot.
Okay.
Honestly, I never really, it's not like I didn't know about,
It just never came to mind.
it never came to mind. I always thought of the yellow airplanes,
Yeah.
right? Just like everybody else does.
Yeah.
But I was driving down, what's that road right out there when you're going to Burt Cranes at 140? I was driving down 140 and all of a sudden this helicopter freaked me to death because I was driving down 140 and this helicopter come right over the canal, right over me. I never seen it coming. Woo, 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 woo. And I like swerved off the road. I was like, what in the world? I watched him. It was John, my later boss. Because 2 weeks out of flight school, I ended up getting a job with them.
Uh-huh.
I take that back. 2 months prior, I had been going to him. This is why I'm one of those guys that is so hard in this. Like, you don't take no for an answer. Like, when you want a job, you just keep going back. And if they say, yeah, next week, you just keep hounding people. Eventually, they're going to see that you want to put effort. And that's what I did. I had actually asked John 4 times if I could get a job with him before that. And no. He said no every time. And I wasn't going to take that for an answer. And I went the 5th time. And he goes, we just lost a guy. He quit and went somewhere else. You go ahead and we'll start you, but we're going to start you off real slow and you're going to pay your dues, So I ended up being a loader, filling him up with the chemical throughout. It was like a year and a half.
So you weren't actually flying?
No, I wasn't even flying anymore. So now I went from flight school flying to not really flying. What he was letting me do is like ferry it back. Like he would drive the truck home and let me fly it back empty. Because first off, I went from flying R-22s, little 2-seater helicopters to... This was a 2-seater too, but it was a Bell 47 and it had no governor. So the throttle was constant. You're constantly moving the throttle. Mm-hmm. You're constantly, if you dive down, you look, or I can't remember because it's been a while, but I was flying a Bell 47, the MASH. If anybody listens, ever watched the MASH show, that's what it is, just a big old bubble and goofy looking thing with a bunch of rebar. It basically looks like. And that's what I started out in. And he trained me. I knew how to fly already, but he trained me to fly that one because each helicopter is a lot different. And this, it's kind of a prehistoric helicopter.
What seems strange to me is you go from, I think flying a helicopter, right? Lift off the ground. You're flying. You get up high. You get above everything.
Yeah.
Crop dusting, you're basically flying
on the deck,
on the hard deck.
Yeah.
You
are.
And so how I'm saying, being so new to that. I mean, to me, that'd freak me out of my mind to say, hey, I got to fly this low, and then you got all the other things that you have to deal with. You don't think about just flying in an airplane, right? You're up there, there's nothing around you. But crop dusting and that sort of thing, you got trees, you got telephone poles, you got wires, you got towers, you got all these different things. And so I think going from somebody that's fresh and new into something like that, I mean, it's like, you feel like you're playing Frogger.
Yeah, it was shell shock. Yeah. Because like you said, I guess I never finished what I was saying, but I went from saying I'm going to be a medevac pilot, so I'll be an instructor, do what I was already doing. I was trained. I have my instructor's license. To get that, you're teaching someone that has thousands of hours how to fly. And if they say, you know what, you're a good instructor, you get your rating. So that's what I plan to do. Build up enough hours, flight hours, to go straight from that to medevac, which was 2,500 hours. Well, that's going to take a while,
Oh, to be a medevac pilot, you have to have 2,500 hours.
About 2,500 hours, yeah, with some other things in there mixed in.
And ag, how many hours do you do ag? Zero.
I have some friends, old school guys, and I say old school. It's being 50 years old in ag can be old school because they were doing things that you would not want to get caught doing now. But they were throwing their kids in, and the dads, so like the dads would be in their 75, 80 now, 85, They were throwing their kids in, literally not even having lessons. They would teach them how to hover, and then they would send them to a DPE, which is a designated pilot examiner. And if they pass that check ride, they'll get their license, and then literally throw them out there and spray fills.
Yeah.
Put 'em to work.
Wow.
I 100% believe
And
that.
and it's insane because if they live, they live. If they don't, they don't. You know, like there's no like if it's meant to be for him, he's gonna make it. You know, it was nuts.
That's crazy.
And
well, you don't think they're teaching them how to
well,
fly fields and everything?
they are to a level, but it's just from what Rob told me. One of the guys, he was just like, basically, he started with airplane.
Yeah.
And then he got his helicopter, and then so he had the concept of spraying. Because once you have the concept of spraying and being, like you said, low on the deck like that, because we're talking, people are like, oh, what are you, 50 feet off the ground spraying? I'm like, no.
2 or 3?
How low are you, Talon?
Low. Like,
And it's not to brag or say, oh, I just fly really low. That has nothing to do with it. You're just trying to get the chemical on the crop.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with. That's how all of them are. And the only reason the airplanes are a little higher, which they're technically not, because they have their landing gear and their tires. I've seen them run their tires through corn, and that's as low as they can get. Their tires are in the way, so yeah, the wing of the plane's higher
Yeah.
than what I am, but all I got is the skids, and that's just 3-4 feet or whatever on different helicopters. But I've came back with corn in my booms and alfalfa and whatever. I'm not. And that's not something to brag. I'm not saying that's a good thing. Maybe I turned out of the field before I pulled up and hooked a little something. But yeah, it was because in flight school, it's always so proper. You lift up out of the field and you keep going higher and higher, and then you fly straight level, then you go land. You don't learn how to fly helicopters doing that. You don't. Mm-hmm. You're not putting that helicopter to work.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know the difference
You're
between...
just flying. You're not
I've
putting
let
it to
you
work.
fly from
Yeah.
field to field. Are you really learning how to handle
No,
that helicopter?
you're just holding it there
Yeah.
and going straight.
Until you're hovering like you guys tried
Yeah.
to do, that's when you're learning.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's why I say any aircraft I could jump in that if I've never flown it as far as a helicopter goes, and you teach me how to start it, I'll start it. And then I fly it, and then let me do spraying with it, or let me pretend like I'm spraying. I'll be like a veteran in that helicopter in 20 minutes because you're working it.
Mm-hmm.
You're diving down, you're doing hammerhead turns, you're low, you're making hard turns, and you're landing every 3-5 minutes on the truck, getting more fuel.
So you're hovering.
Yeah,
constantly.
well, you're not even really hovering. You're literally coming in and boom. You know what I mean?
Dropping it.
Hovering's just sitting there, oh, okay. And, I've seen guys do
Yeah.
that too, but it's all about efficiency when you're in ag. It's bam, huh? Is it not? You
Yeah.
come on trick, boom, go.
So your boss, when you got hired in your first job, so that's when he started teaching you that. What was the process
Yeah.
to start teaching you that?
So what it was is first it was how to start the helicopter and to properly fly that one because it was a lot different.
Yeah.
Like, it was
They
weird.
look a whole lot different.
They do. And the handling's weird. It's a lot more sensitive. An R-22 is like, if you could hover the one you guys were trying to hover, like, or not even hover it all the way, you could hover this one easy. Because
Yeah.
they were the stiffer. But anyways, so what the process was to begin to start spraying, at least what John did with me was, got used to flying a helicopter, led me ferry with nothing in it, just back to, after we worked all day, he would drive the truck back, I'd fly the helicopter back. Landing on the cart. That's a good step to start beginning to land on the truck because it messes you up. You're on a little cart.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
And I remember
Push those
thinking
out.
the first time, I was like, how am I going to land it on that? I'm not used to being that precise in my landing. And yeah, I jacked up several times, But that right there alone just makes you better, just that kind of stuff. But then once I got used to that, then he's like, okay, you're going to spray water. So then he started letting me land on the truck and I could do that safely. And then like, okay, we're going to give you water and you just go spray, but it's just water. There's nothing coming out but water.
Mm-hmm.
So go spray that field over there. Like his buddy, like, hey, that's Joe's farmer. And they just go spray that field of alfalfa with water. Started doing that. He would go in there and show me how to do the ag turns, which was an old school guy. He actually knew Brother Taylor. He's a big time mule guy.
Okay.
Remember they had that mule days or whatever back in the day? They still do it, I think. Do you ever remember hearing about that?
Not really.
Up in Mariposa or somewhere up there, and they would do mule days, and all these guys with all these mules would go up there and do their pack teams and stuff. But he did that. I still talk to him every once in a while. He lives what's that town right as you're going down 140, like you're going to Bannis. off to the right.
Stevenson.
Stevenson. It's somewhere.
Stevenson.
Hilmar, Delhi, somewhere like in there
Okay.
somewhere. And anyways, he's the one that taught me to spray. Like, I don't know why John really didn't, but I would go ride with him, and man, yeah, he was hard on me. Like, he would get on to me, and that was good. I remember it wasn't that I didn't like him doing that to me. I didn't like my ability. Like, I want to learn this. I want to be good at this. Make me mad. I wasn't getting being better. It took a while. It was like you said, you're right on the deck, and my tendency to get that low was I was always wanting to be up here. Get lower, and be, oh, you're doing this, turn around. He grabbed the control. He's just a cowboy kind of guy, big, sausage hands, and he always wearing boots and long sleeve and Wranglers, just that kind of guy, but super nice guy. His name was Lloyd, and that's kind of how he taught me. They did that, and then finally, after like a year and a half, they're like, okay, you're gonna spray this field. Made sure there was no wires anywhere around. It was wide open as a sweet potato field. I actually have that on video on the channel.
I think I seen it though.
It's like the third video.
Yeah, I think I seen that.
Terrible. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I was higher for sure, but I did the turns. My turns were real big too. I kind of, you want to stay safe. You don't need to whip it around when you're brand new. But sprayed my first field, and I was like, man, and I was a little worn out. And it was like 80 acres. Mentally, dude,
Yeah,
I was like
mentally.
worn.
Yeah.
Oh, turn the spray on. Oh, make the ag turn. Oh, switch over to the next road. Like, instead of it being a fluid subconscious thing.
Yeah, like driving.
Yeah,
like
it was all just like
just learning how to drive, and then now when you drive, you don't even think about what you're doing. You just go through the motions with your eyes not closed. But.
Yeah, I was beat down, but I never once questioned like I don't want to do ag. It was a job.
Yeah.
It was flying. I'm getting paid to fly. Like, how cool is that?
I don't know. Just myself driving down the road and seeing guys in helicopters flying. I'm like, I'm a chicken. So I'm watching these guys. And I'm like, you think they're gonna crash? They're gonna crash. They're gonna hit those wires. And the last second, they come up, they bank, and then they drop back down. It looks like they're gonna ram right into the ground, and then they level off and go and then do it again, and just doing that over and over again.
But when you were in there, because you've flown with me when I've sprayed before, have you too, Thomas, or did you only just fly with me to field to field?
No, I
Did you stay in there when I was
flown with
spraying?
you several times, yeah.
And you stayed with me, right?
Yeah, I
So
stayed.
all three of you have. So I think you guys are actually the only ones that have. I've flown some other people around, but they didn't stay in there while I sprayed. But was it as bad as it seemed though when you guys were in there as it is watching someone when you don't know what you know?
No,
No, it doesn't at all, actually.
It wasn't that. Were you
No.
like scared?
No, because it just everything was a fluid motion.
and two, you think about they're going underneath wires and stuff like that. I was less scared to go underneath the wires than the
Because I went under wires
Yeah.
with you on that one field, the whole field.
Yeah.
Did you like?
No,
Yeah.
And even banking didn't bother me. I like roller coasters, so to me it's like,
Dude, I don't even. But the funny thing is, I don't even like watching guys spray. I've trained a couple guys. I shouldn't say train them, but kind of how to do turns and stuff like that, and show them how to run the system and stuff like that. And then I get out of the helicopter and watch them. I'm like, oh my goodness! Like, it kind of makes me a little nervous.
So when you first started, did you ever get motion sick at all?
Actually, that's a good question because before I even started, finally this guy said he would pick me up, John, and he took me out. He's like, just show up tomorrow, show up at this place, give me 2 street crossings, show up here and jump with me and see what you think. I forgot about that. That's funny. I got in, I jumped in. John's crazy pilot. He's a good pilot. He's just he's crazy. But he's been doing it for so long, he thinks he's just whatever. But he's ripped a lot of booms off because he's been too low. That dude is in the deck. You guys have seen him. You've seen him spray. I jump in with him. I get him. 5 minutes, dude. I was gonna hurl. I was like, I can't do this. I just went to school, spent all this money, spent all this time, want to do this for a living, and I'm gonna get sick. Like, what am I gonna do? Like, I wanted to puke my guts out. I didn't want to show up again. I was like, but then I thought, I gotta. Like, I want to fly. Surely I'll get used to this, right?
Yeah.
And then a couple more times, yeah. But you saying for me, flying personally for myself, obviously that went away. Just like guys work on boats, I'm sure does in the ocean. But when I came back from Afghanistan, I hadn't flown in a year. I got sick the first day. I was nauseated, but I knew by then. Obviously, I had so many more hours. I was like, I know it'll go away. But it took a couple days.
Yeah.
It took a couple days for your equilibrium, I guess, to get caught back up to that.
Yeah, because when I went with you, I rode with you for probably like 4 hours,
Mhm.
and I ended up having to tell you just drop me down because I ended up throwing up.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
He blamed those burritos though. Those were gnarly burritos.
Well, I
We
don't.
went and had
I don't know.
Mexican
Like
burritos.
I can do theme parks and all kinds of stuff, but it seemed like the fields we had were like narrow, weird fields. Like
It
I've never
was.
seen fields planted like this. you think of fields as like square or circular or long, you know,
Yeah.
rectangle, whatever. Whatever reason, these fields we were spraying, it must have been like next to a
It's like
river
who sold the
or
property?
something.
Huh?
Yeah, but they're like weird narrow fields with trees in the middle and then wires at the other end, like all kinds of weird stupid stuff. We're going down, up, back down, banking around,
was
then
bad.
coming back, doing the turn, coming back down, doing the same thing. It was
Yeah.
gnarly.
It was kind of messed up. You had a nice big 100
Yeah, it
quarter
was nice,
section.
yeah.
It was literally just back and forth,
Yeah.
like long runs, just
Yeah.
boom, boom. And it was jacked up. It was like a bunch of small fields, a lot. I didn't even like it. It's just annoying, like to do
Yeah.
those kind of fields. So it was kind of messed up for him
Yeah.
to be in that. And then yours,
They were both big open fields.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did I spray very long that day when you were with me?
I think
Was
about
that
an
a couple-
hour.
A couple, yeah, an hour. or so.
hour and a half,
Yeah.
maybe two.
That wasn't too bad either. It was
Mm-mm.
open.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was messed up because I had a lot of transmission lines,
Uh-huh.
power lines, all kinds of jacked up stuff
Yeah.
with you.
So
Yeah.
you went from flying ag and then you went to the National Guard after that, or what?
So I was
Hold
doing
up.
Or did you do
Hold on, back up.
something
Before
that?
you got deployed,
You did something else.
You
What?
had an experience in John's helicopter, right?
Oh yeah. So that's still more at the beginning of the career. That was 11 years ago now, I think. I was through my first season, so I had sprayed that first field, and now I'm spraying every day, all summer long, getting better, building hours quick. I don't even know how many hours I had at the time. I think I had like 400 hours. I think it was only 3 or 4 months into the season. It was the last load of the last job.
Nice.
So
For the
frustrating.
season?
Yeah, no, just for the day.
Oh, for the day. Okay.
But it was the end of the season pretty much. I
Yeah.
mean, so frustrating. That's what makes me so mad. It was literally the last load of the day. And what happened was the way the wind was blowing, I was coming across this field and I pulled up. Now the wind's at my back, which you try to always, you want kind of like a quartering wind when you spray because you can always have the wind in your favor. You're always turning into the wind. So you want to use that to your advantage. Goes into the principles of flying, but I'm not going to get into that. But anyways, this way I was spraying this field, the wind was either in my face going this way or at my tail going this way. So when I pulled up over this power line, I lost power. I say lost power, but the power bled off so fast because I was kind of sinking in my own rotor wash. And I spun it back around and literally just dropped. I wouldn't say like a rock. I almost pulled it out. Just inexperience. Honestly, is really what it was. And I plowed it. When I was going down, I was like, I'm done. It's over. I'm dead. Like, cause it was just.
Was it a straight nose? I mean, were you like
I
nose
flattened it out at
first,
the end
or-
because the way to pull out of a situation like that is to build up airspeed, kind of like drop the collective and push forward and build up airspeed. Because what happened is your blades are slowing down.
Okay.
So you want your blades at spinning this certain speed in the green on the gauges. And what happened is it bled off so fast before I could fix it because of the tailwind. When I got whipped back around, I nosed it over and tried to dive back down, and I almost got it out of it, but obviously not quick enough. Came down and almost got flat, and then, it was almost straight down, and bam, and right before I hit, you're taught to never let go of the controls, never get up all the way to the end. Well, I didn't, because when I hit, I can still hear all those sounds. Helicopters tearing itself apart. Things are. I thought I'm dead. Like my whole literal life flashed before my eyes. I'm like, I'm done. And finally, it came to stop. The engine's still running, and I'm laying there. My hands are still like locked onto the controls. My eyes are closed.
The engine was still running?
Well, yeah,
The rotor?
blades aren't moving no more because they're ripped off of the helicopter, but the engine's still going bong like that, literally. And I remember just laying there, and I rolled the throttle off. It went silent, and I was all.
Now, how were you? Were you like sideways?
I was sitting.
Like,
I was.
how was your position?
I was-
Were you upside down? What, flat?
I was literally sitting just like I'm sitting in this chair right now.
Just straight up.
There was nothing left but the bubble. Everything was
where
gone.
was the engine?
tail was gone. Well, the engine's connected to the cab, but the whole tail rotor, the blades, when I hit so hard that the main rotor blades slapped down, like basically almost to the ground, and kept spinning and chopped off the tail rotor, the whole tail cone, and flung it like 50 yards in front. Boom, hit off. You know, it went up in the front. Blades going this way, parts going this way, plexiglass flying off. It was just scattered all over this sweet potato field.
Thank God it wasn't trees.
Yeah, no, that would have been bad.
Yeah.
And honestly, thank God that I walked out of there unscathed. I had a little scratch on my ankle, but outwardly, that was it. Now, I did blow my back out because those helicopters are not made for crashes. The ones they make nowadays, the actual seats will cave in and give for your back, like made to crash.
Yeah.
This is like a steel block you're sitting on. Didn't budge. And basically ruptured to my disc in my lower back, but I didn't know at the time. Of course, you know, it's like the worst thing that can ever happen to you because news come out there. They're already weirded out by crop dusters because of the chemical. You know, they're freaking out. You know, oh my goodness, there's a spill now. So you got chemicals kind of spilled. You got a helicopter. You got a guy that might be dead out there. So news channels are
How
coming
is that
out.
a spill when you're literally spraying it?
Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Because it's a larger amount in one little
one
spot.
spot.
Then sprout. Yeah, it's stupid.
Unbelievable.
So you had what were those guys called? What are those guys called?
Newscaster?
New hazmat people coming out there with the coats and gloves, news people, fire trucks, cops, sheriffs. Because I don't know if I blacked out for a minute. I don't think I did, but I wonder if I did because how all of a sudden. So like I said, I rolled the throttle off, and instantly I was already hearing sirens. There's no way
It would have been already
They already
coming
been
that
out-
fast.
coming
that quick. So I heard sirens,
So
but I rolled it off.
you maybe blacked out.
I might have for a minute or two. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't feel like I did. I feel like I was awake for the whole thing. Just my eyes were closed. After I hit the ground, I was like, ah. But I literally was feeling on myself. I'm like, I'm alive. I'm alive. You know,
You're in
and
shock.
yeah. It's a 4-point harness. I unbuckled it and I stepped out where the front window is. And I stood there and I was like, oh my. The first thing I thought was, I'm going to lose my job. I wasn't even thinking I'm alive, like happy I'm alive. And then all the fire trucks were pulling in, all those ambulance were pulling in. The loader had come running over there. Are you okay, man? Like, you know, can't believe you're alive. You know, they're freaking out.
Can you imagine
That
them
must have
watching
been a
that
sight.
happen?
Right. There, you know, he thought I was dead.
Yeah.
You know he did.
That had to be such a sight.
Yeah, and so, anyways, like, dude, I'm completely fine, you know? And they're like, whoa, dude, that's crazy, whatever. And the ambulance came run up to me, you need to go in, you need to go to the ER. And I'm like, I'm fine. Like, honest to God, I go, if I was, I'd let you take me in. But look at me, honestly, there's nothing wrong. And anyways, the news channel wanted to talk to me. I said, no, I didn't want to do anything. But it's on YouTube of that specific thing. You can see a video of it. That news channel had put a little video clip of it up then. And I was just so mad, you know. I was like, man, you know, and basically I didn't fly for a while because of that, because he only had 2 helicopters. He was flying the other one. And anyways, where was I going with that? So yeah, about 5 days later, we were sitting in Taco Bell, and I was sitting there eating, finished my food. We were leaving. I couldn't stand up. Literally could not stand up. I just go, oh, you know, like I tried to stand up, and I was
So you
locked.
didn't feel the pain until then?
No, I was completely fine. It was like 5 days. I could not stand up.
I wonder if it was swollen and the swelling went down.
I don't know.
Oh, that's weird.
Dude, I was excruciating because you know me, I'm not Sarah. Like, I'm not, my wife worries about everything. And I was like, I'm not going to, I'll fake, I was cold sweated just to like not look like I'm hurting something for her because she freaks out. I couldn't fake it, dude. I couldn't walk. I couldn't even hardly stand. I couldn't stand up straight. I was literally locked, bent over.
For how long? What'd you do?
Well, so we went home. I didn't sleep that night. Literally.
How'd you get home? I mean, was
Well,
it
she helped me, dude.
5
It was-
minutes, 10 minutes?
Oh, no, I was just stripping sweat, like getting in the car, like everything, all that whole process. She drove me home, went to bed, thought I'll go to the chiropractor.
Oh my God.
How smart of an idea is that? Which I did not, he couldn't, there's no way, dude. There's no way he could have popped me. There's no way he could have did anything. I would have passed out probably or something. But he took x-rays and he's like, yep, it didn't really, he says, and it wasn't the greatest, obviously, x-ray deal, but he's like, oh, you just bulging. You have 2 bulging discs. and they were literally. I have pictures of it still. They're sticking completely out of the vertebrae.
Yeah.
All we can do is, he goes, eventually I think it will go back in place. And they, he put those electrode things on me all over my back in that area. And I was pretty painful, even though really all it's doing is flexing it. And he's all, just, here's some prescription for Vicodin.
What could that possibly do?
I don't have to do anything.
I don't.
That's why I never like chiropractors. In my opinion, they don't, and I hate to say that if some are listening, but they've never helped me.
I don't understand how electrodes could help a bulging
I think he was
disc.
just trying to think of something swelling, maybe. I don't know. But he's like, oh, here's a prescription for Vicodin.
Yeah.
Which really, that is all you can do is. It's
Right.
good. I couldn't sleep that night. I did not sleep.
Yeah.
There was no position I could lay in that I could get comfort. I've never been in that kind of pain in my life. And I laid on the side, laid on my back.
Which vertebra? Like how far up or
The
down
L3
your back?
and 4. I think it's like the lowest ones.
How
Pretty much.
far down your back?
It's
is it?
literally
Way at the
right
bottom.
by your right above your tailbone.
Inside your sacrum. Yeah.
It's like your tailbone, and then those two is like right there.
So what can you do to even help that?
Well, now if I would have had back then the reverse hyper, I guarantee that would have helped me so quick. But there was nothing they could do.
Stretch.
Yeah,
your
stretch
spine.
that and fill it with fluid and let that disc kind of go back into place.
So like, what? Lay inverted or stuff like that kind of thing. Those.
Well,
kind of
he
things,
gave me
or?
some exercises to do. It was like put my knees to my chest and let my head hang off the bed or something. It kind of did like pull on it, but it was so pain. I couldn't do nothing for 2 weeks. I couldn't even do that. There's no way I could do that. Then I was taking Vicodin. I never take anything. So to do that was jacking me up. I was on half one. Okay, so this shows the power of drug addiction. Seriously, and you know, I don't know. Hopefully nobody out there has that problem, but just for an example of someone going through that and being that kind of pain to be able to get off of it. You know, I was on half one, and I'm telling you, I don't take Advil. It would just, gone to the world like for 24 hours, dude. Like not even hardly, I couldn't keep my eyes open, but then I could actually sleep. I was on the couch, not moving, not sleeping, hurting. Everything I do, I can hurt. So now I'm not making money. I'm like depressed. Then you're on this junk that jacks with your head anyways, let alone just your features and feeling of pain. And then that half of Vicodin wasn't working, so I went to 1, and then I went to 1.5, and I went to 2. That was like 2 months in. I finally said, dude, this isn't making me better.
Yeah.
And I think I was getting a little bit better too. It was kind of finally letting up a little bit, and I just threw the ball in the garbage. It's like, dude, I'm not, because you know how people get hooked to that, but doing the garbage but it was a long road, man. I get jacked up, and I'll tell you what helped is us working out. And I've said that so many times. You know, people freak out about deadlifts, but like deadlifts strengthen my what do you call that? Your core, but it's your what's that? What is that called on either side of your spine?
Yeah.
I can't remember it for the life of me right now. But
that's gonna irritate
anyways,
me.
I know. We'll think about it later. But it's strengthened that. And the less I deadlift and work out just in general, because I've been working out now for 7 years. And I'll tell you what, that is what really helped my back. But I still do have problems every once in a while. But that was 11 years ago. But
Something chain.
posterior chain.
Posterior
Yeah.
chain. Yes.
Yeah, it's strengthened that. It kind of secures all that in there. But
Right.
anyways, so that was that. That took a long time to talk about. But
So you obviously didn't get fired. Did you ever
No.
start spraying there again?
yeah, but it was like a year. But what happened is I needed work. I had a family. I called all around all my buddies.
Wait. Sorry. Back up. How long were you not working? You're all in this pain. You're in this pain.
I think I eventually. Well, I didn't work for like 2 months. I was on disability. I never had done an unemployment, but I
the
did
pain
disability.
never really went away, right?
No, I just dealt with it.
When did it start to? You say
I can't even remember. Years. Really was when I started working out. That's when I really didn't even think about my back anymore. I'm not joking.
I remember you used to talk about it a lot. It's not like I'm not saying that in a bad way. Obviously, you're in pain. It's always on your mind. But I remember you mentioning that, like, things with your back, like you didn't want to do certain things because your back, it was always
Yeah.
Yeah, I
my
can
back,
remember that too.
my back, whatever. And then, like you said, we started working out more, and it was like like it started just you started
Disappearing.
to stop saying things
Yeah.
about your back.
Mhm.
You know, it's kind of crazy, but
And that's why I tell people about the deadlifting. It's like, man, yeah, you just go light and you do it right. It's gonna strengthen your back. That's what it does. You know, you lift right, it works. But anyways.
so anyways, you did that.
So I went to
then-
work for Scott Churchill in Minnesota for a whole
Right.
season, which their season's only, it was like from June to September. And I built up a lot of hours again. So now I'm starting to get more marketable. But John wanted me back and he got another helicopter. So I went back to John. So now I'm sitting around 1,000 hours. So I'm getting somewhere now. Like, okay, I'm going to be getting close to medevac here another year or two, possibly. Because ag, you build up time quick. And went back to work for John. Built, I think, like another 500 hours. That's what it was. I built another 500. So now I'm at 1,500. And I asked for a raise. And he was like, because most people, I was at 10%. Most crop dusters are making 20. And I was a journeyman now. I was started as apprentice, go to journeyman, usually jump from that to 20% commission for everything you spray. And I asked for, a raise. I'm expecting like 15%, not 20, whatever. And he's like, yeah, I'll give you, 12. And I was like, okay. I was like, man, that's kind of 2%. But I mean, I have nothing against John for that because I mean, in all reality, like I did crash a helicopter like a year and a half prior to that. So it's like, that costs a lot of money, I mean, you do have insurance and stuff, but still. And I still, I felt bad for that, of course, horrible about that. But anyways, he didn't want to do that. Well, a friend of mine had another company that was in Lemoore, which was an hour and a half commute. But I went to them, did an interview with the owner, and I was there for 9 years. So I basically, I went into that and I moved into flying Jet Rangers, which is going from piston engine helicopters. That's all I've ever flown to turbine. That's the elite. Once you get to turbine, you feel like you're doing something. You feel like you kind of moved up, and you guys know the difference between those two. I mean, it's like night and day. Power, everything. And they're a great company. I worked for them, but then I did that, and they worked me like a dog to the point I was just like, ugh. And then I finally had the hours. Now I could apply. I could apply for medevac, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do medevac. So I said thanks. I left on good terms with them. Went and did medevac for a year. And that was really crazy experiences. I could do a whole podcast on
Just telling stories from that.
We should do that. I should write that down as a podcast idea. Stories from Metaflights, unreal. And because we were in Fresno, California, it's one of the busiest bases in California.
How different was that from ag? It's
Well, now you go
different.
from cowboy
yeah,
flying kind of. It's not, because that's just how it is, to very proper and...
Yeah.
You're flying with the flight crew. You're flying with
to
a
be
nurse and a medic.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
politically
timely,
correct and
correct. You're working with other people.
safe.
Yeah,
Meeting all those criteria. And I mean, that's
You're like, let's
They
land
gotta-
here in this
they gotta
cornfield.
like
They're
you.
like, no, you got to land here.
yeah. And a nurse and a medic, they can get you fired almost, because if they say anything bad about you, or whether it's true or not, they could get you in trouble. Like, oh man, he flies like a maniac, or whatever. Plus,
We were 2 foot off the ground.
yeah, I went from, I don't know how much I can be open about this yet, but some stories will come out later once I'm out of the flying career. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot, but I went from flying, $500,000 helicopter, and still they're nice, to like $2, $3, $4 million helicopters, holding 7 passengers, to me flying by myself all the time. So now I got a patient, and then I got 2 other people. So there's a lot of responsibility there, and you want to do right. Like I don't want to act stupid. Like we're chameleons. You can fit in the environment you need to be in. I'll play whistle Dixie, however you want it in that environment. I'm not stupid. So I just played that game and had some crazy experiences in that. It's crazy stuff, and learned a lot too. Then I'm in the National Guard, and I'm flying as a backseater, as a crew chief on a medevac helicopter for the military. So I'm kind of doing the same thing, but in different seats.
yeah.
Doing
Different
IVs.
roles.
Yeah, different roles. One as a pilot, other one as an actual crew member doing IVs. And
How much medical training does a crew chief have? Really?
well, in a medevac unit, we just basically do actually a lot of extra stuff. Like for us, they did trach. They taught us how to do trachs.
Really?
Yeah.
How difficult is a trach? Like
It's just like the last option though. It's like,
you don't want to do
not that it's really difficult, because you literally slice the
What's
front
the
of the
scenario?
esophagus.
What's the scenario like? Yeah, we
Well,
gotta do it. right now.
because there's something lodged and they can't get air. They're suffocating. Maybe it could be
And
like
just literally in the back of your throat, like
well, yeah, but like shrapnel or something.
Oh.
If some piece object, foreign
Right.
object comes flying, gets
and blocks it.
and if I know there's some people that listen to this that are actual medics and stuff, so they're hopefully I'm not making them look bad because remember, guys, I never claim I'm not a trained medic or something like that, but I just know it, if it, say a piece of metal comes and gets lodged above and completely cuts off any airflow to breathe out of your mouth, you're suffocating.
and you're not gonna pull that out.
You can't, if you pull that out, you don't know what's
bleed
gonna happen
out,
to you.
maybe.
Because we're in the field,
Yeah.
We're not no surgeon.
Yeah.
So you got to get that guy air. He's going to die.
Right.
Just, I shouldn't even give scenarios. Just there's certain times that it would be, but it's very, very,
Limited, rare.
it's very rare that
Yeah.
you do it. I think they did one while we were in Afghanistan. That's it the whole time. So that kind of shows you, I don't know how much on the civilian sector they do it, but I don't even know if on the medevac helicopter, I know they've done it. Some of the nurses told me they've done it, but I don't think that ever happened on one of my flights. And we did a lot, but it just has to be the right scenario. But yeah, they trained us to do that. They trained us to do IVs. Us crew chiefs were doing IVs on each other all the time before that deployment. And I enjoy doing those. And I don't want to lose that because it takes a little bit of a knack, but you pick it up pretty fast. Obviously CPR, which most people nowadays do that in their jobs. What else did we do? Pushing drugs for the medic. I mean, obviously they got to give you the permission. Okay, push this, and all you're doing is sticking in the IV and pushing it in. But as far as that, yeah, I mean, that's what we were doing.
Mm-hmm. Weren't you doing hoisting also?
Yeah, we did a lot of hoisting. That was awesome.
That
was fun.
How difficult is that? Like, what are you doing?
It was actually pretty difficult to learn. It took a lot of training. Aren't
you at the discretion of the pilot though? He's holding it. Are you giving him? You're not giving him direction. He can.
Yeah, no,
look
I
down,
am.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you are.
He picks a point. So they were so far ahead of us. They're like, I can't remember how many feet. It's like, I'm gonna get crucified. I'm not gonna give numbers because I'll say something wrong. But
He has a
anyways, the
different point
pilots
of
are
view.
way up in the front.
Mm.
They're way up there. We're in the back in the door, towards the back because the hoist. There's two different kinds. There was one that stuck out the side, and there was the one that spun out that was inside the helicopter that would spin out, and then you would do it. And you were wearing these vests, the crew chiefs and the medics and the pilots actually. But you're wearing these vests, and it's got ammo, it's got other things in it, but it's also got the carabiner where you hook. It's rated for so many hundreds of pounds. You hook it onto the hoist, and then that's what's holding you is a vest in there, and you zip that thing up, get it tight. And we would do at first, so as a crew chief, I'd be like, we get in a 50-foot hover and like, okay, and I can't remember the verbiage. I'm rusty at it now, but like I'd have the medic, okay, medic's on. I'm talking to the pilots, not really talking to the medic. Confirmed. We confirm our tells because it's holding me in because I'm sitting right out the edge of the door. You can't just sit there with attached to something. So we hook our tails into the floorboard rings on the helicopter, the Black Hawk, and then hook it into my back. We'd verify, okay, and you tug on it. Okay, yours is good. I tug on his, yours is good. We tug on our own. Okay, you're good. Okay, we're secure here in the back. Door's coming open. Pop the door open. Medic's hooked up. Medic's going out the door. And you're just hanging there outside going 100 knots or whatever. It was. I've been on both sides. I've been the guy hanging on the thing too. It's cool. I actually really enjoyed that. But then he'd be like, okay, medic's going down. We come into a hover, 80 feet off the ground, 50 feet. Medic's going down. Then I would call. I just send him down as fast as I could until he would wave his hand like this, which means he was 10 feet. And then I would tell the pilots, okay, 10. And then I would have to adjust them if it wasn't, because we're trying to get these specific spots.
Yeah.
That's the point of a hoist,
Right.
is you're on the side of a hill, a mountain, you can't land there. So you can't just sloppily land. Just because you're practicing a wide open field doesn't mean you can do that in real situations. So to practice, and it'd be like 10, and then hold. I would stop letting them down with the control, and I would say slide right 5. So the pilot would know start going right 4, 3, 2, 1, and that's where he'd know to stop. Okay, stay there. Then I'd be the medic's 5 feet off. 4, 3, 2, 1, and then his feet would touch down on the ground. And I'd let a little slack in it. He'd unhook himself, and I'd start doing the hoist up, and we'd take off. But then it got to the point we were doing medic insertions, combat insertions, where you're coming in fast, the medic's coming down as you're coming in hot, and you got to time it to where his feet touch the ground on the spot. As they're like coming to a stop, he's hitting the ground. He unhooks as quick as he can, and then so it's almost like a fluid boom. He's hitting the ground, boom, and you take off. You don't want to be sitting there hovering in Afghanistan.
Is that
getting shot
faster
at.
than actually like taking the bird down, or is there just a certain reason you would do that?
Well, because you couldn't land. That's so you're doing that, but when you do it, you're like, okay, this LZ is hot. We gotta like nail this, get him in there, and not be sitting there big old target.
Yeah.
A lot of helicopters have been shot down in Afghanistan from hovering there for a long time. So
even if he comes and hovers like a foot off the ground or something, they don't do anything like that.
you could. I know special forces will do rappelling and stuff, but that still takes a minute too. But you're only inserting one guy.
Yeah.
And then depending on the situation, you might have to pull both those guys out. There's a sked where they lay a body in it. I can't even imagine right now one of those things. Because they put the body in there, they wrap them in, tie them up. And I've seen videos with real people and injured people spin like a top, dude.
Sheesh.
Just hundreds of times just spinning. They're already shot, hurt. And how you eliminate that is a tagline. You probably messed with that a little bit, right? You angle yourself and you tagline so they don't do that. But sometimes stuff goes wrong. And it's like, oh, it's so freaky looking because it's like you're doing this and you're up 50 feet in the air. You're spinning 100 miles an hour and you're sitting here flopping like this. It's like as if getting shot wasn't bad enough. So you might not make it up in the helicopter.
So how long were you in Afghanistan?
It was 9 months.
9 months.
Yeah, I was in
What
Texas
was the worst
for 3.
part of that 9 months?
Just being away from family
Yeah.
and church and friends, That was definitely because my girls were little. No, I guess it doesn't matter how old they were, but it was terrible. I mean, that was the hard part of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't being over there. I wasn't scared over there. It wasn't like, oh, I hope I make it back. I mean, we had definitely a lot of situations, but that was just terrible.
What was
like
what
you're
was the
missing
best
stuff
part
of their
it?
life, huh?
What was the best part?
The best part was when the camaraderie, that how close you are to these guys. You don't know these guys your whole life, but going through something like that, you're instant, lifelong best friends.
Yeah.
That was a really good part. The other part was helping the people that we could help. That was very rewarding. Obviously, in the medical field, that's always something that's rewarding is helping people, and getting them out of there and everybody getting home safely. And yeah, I'd say that was probably the best part of it.
Yeah.
But wasn't a whole lot of good parts of it.
Right.
But that was good. It was
Yeah.
good. I still talk to a lot of my
Something
buddies
you
all the time.
Have you ever wanted to
Oh,
go
yeah.
back there?
No.
Not to. There's nothing to see really. Probably
No,
It's like desert,
not where
right?
I was at. The problem was I was in Western Afghanistan.
Oh, okay.
Just straight up no man's land, dirt,
No man's-
sand.
Nothing
Not
to
even
look at.
animals hardly, dude.
Really?
Didn't you say you saw people nomads?
Yeah, nomads. Hundreds of miles from life. Middle of a desert, flat as a pancake. We're flying over these black things on the ground. We're probably like 2,000 feet. I go, what are those? We come down lower. It is literal people living out there. Like 3 tents.
Wow.
Black, made of black. I don't know what they're made of. They're
There's no
homemade.
water there, right? There's no water. There's
No water. I
no
honestly
grocery stores.
nothing, dude.
No Corona.
They didn't even have any. They didn't even have. Yeah, they're not worried about Corona right now. There was not even. They didn't even have. Excuse me, any transportation.
And how
No
far
camels.
How far were they from anything?
Hundreds of miles. I'm not exact in all directions, dude. Trust me, I know. I looked on a map. I'm like, dude,
What are they doing?
have
This
they
is not
been
real.
have they been born and raised there? Like is that where they? That's
What do
all
they
they
eat?
know. I guess goat. They had a couple
Lizards.
goats. They had a couple goats. I think they drank goat's milk for liquid. I don't think they.
Uh-huh.
There was no water nowhere around there, dude. Black tents, and it was like 125 degrees, and there was no one outside. There was 2 goats outside. I have a picture of it. It's on the YouTube channel. Like one of the very beginning videos. I have a video of us on deployment, and show that in the video a picture of that. Nuts.
Did you say there was a castle or something over there?
Yeah. Alexander the Great's. One of Alexander the Great's places where he came over and conquered over there.
Wow.
We took a picture of us holding the American flag, hovering over top of it, and you can see all the rooms and all the things over it, just made out of the side of a mountain.
Huh.
Trippy.
Insane.
Actually, right there.
I wonder.
It's that picture right there.
Okay.
That's just the top. You can't see it, but that whole mountain was like rooms and walkways.
Really?
Dude, in the middle of Afghanistan.
That's crazy.
Is that nuts
That's
or what?
cool.
I was like, man, drop us down. Let's walk through there.
Uh-huh.
Oh, we don't know if there's mines in there and junk, which there could have been, I guess, but I sure would. That's insane.
That is insane. Like,
How-
what
that's-
was it like back
What
then?
year? Yeah, like what year was that?
Yeah.
And how,
Alexander was-
how do they know? Like,
Because I
is
don't
there
know.
like not documents, but
There's
like
something,
there's things written down.
I guess, dude. I don't know.
Location wise,
We specifically went there because that was on their map thing, and they like, let's go check this out.
that's insane. I wonder what time that was.
I know. When was Alexander the Great around?
I'm not a historian.
I'm not either. People are yelling at their car. It's 1500. It's 200 BC. I have no idea.
So you came back from deployment and went back to crop dusting, right?
And medevac.
Oh, right. You were
I was doing both.
for
My
a bit.
week on medevac because they do week on, week off. I work a week of days medevac and then do spraying the whole week
Yeah.
off of that, and that just burnt me out. That was like a year, and I finally quit the medevac thing
Yeah.
because crop dusting was a lot better money.
Uh-huh. So
Alexander the Great, his reign was from 356 BC through 323 BC.
that was a
Way back.
long time ago.
That's 600 years. So how many Alexanders were there?
There was only one Alexander the
No.
Great, I think.
No. You said 3. Both of those were 3.
Oh, I thought you went 300 BC to 300 AC or.
80.
No,
AD.
they're both BC.
Oh, okay. So how
Yeah.
long was it?
Let's see. So it said 356 BC through 323 BC.
Okay,
Yeah.
20 some
So
years. Or
you
something.
do the math. I'm not
I
doing.
don't even plugged in at 23 years or something.
Something like that.
So since then,
That's nuts, dude. That's Bible time.
That's before. He's saying,
yeah.
he's saying before Christ.
Yeah.
300 something years before Christ.
Well, I said Bible times. I mean,
yeah.
that's nuts.
yeah.
That's even more cool than I thought it was.
That's really
You
old.
should have hoisted down and got a little
I
piece
know.
of sand or something.
I want to, but
it-
bring a little rock home
This
or
was
something.
Alexander the Great's rooms wall or something.
Yeah, and then land, and my right leg gets blown off by a stinking, a little ID
Well,
down there.
this isn't as cool as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
I hate this place. So
I just wanted a souvenir.
that was what year was that?
13 to 14.
13. So 7, 8 years ago, somewhere around then. Been doing a lot of flying since then. How many hours are you up to now?
Almost 7,800, 7,850, something like that.
So almost 8,000 hours.
Mhm.
That's insane. How many mechanical issues have you had since then?
Yeah, Dad wasn't really. He recorded some stuff the other day, and he's like, "What?" He's like, "You've only had one problem, right?" I just started laughing. He's like, "What are you laughing at?" I said, "Like 9, 10." He's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost.
I know you've lost hydraulics several times.
That was bad. Yeah, I lost hydraulics 2 or 3 times. I've lost engine twice. I've let me think. What else happened? Oh, well, that was kind of weird. I don't know what was going on there, but there was flames shooting out, and my helicopter was smoking. Luckily, I had landed, and I didn't know nothing was going on because the smoke stacks behind me. And then on the truck, and the Lord's going, I'm like, what? He's on fire! And I just shut it down. I was like, dude, what in the world? I don't know what that was. I think there was some buildup in the engine, but we ended up shutting it down. They hauled it back to the shop and fixed it.
I remember you told me one story where there was a big oak tree or something like that, and you were like tired or something. You were flying, and all of a sudden you just heard this noise, and your skids were going through the top of the oak tree or something like that.
Probably.
Like a long time ago.
Probably. Dude, there's so stuff I can't even remember half it. Half it, I was probably half asleep. Because that's the thing. They don't have no rules in when it comes to ag, how long
What's
you
the
can
longest
fly.
you've flown like
19 hours
straight?
straight.
Wow.
19 hours. I've done that multiple times, but that's the longest.
That's crazy.
It's stupid.
19 hours straight.
Yeah.
I've never even duck hunted 19 hours straight.
That helicopter was never shut off for 19 hours. But yeah, you can't do that. Like medevac, you can 8 hours max. You cannot fly over 8 hours.
Yeah.
You know, most jobs where you're hauling passengers around 8 hours, you're limited to that. You got duty days too. Like you can't go over 14 hours, even if it has nothing to do with flying. You just can't be out there that long.
Wow.
But crop dusting, there's nothing in the regulation book that limits you to time.
That's crazy.
It's insanity actually. That's why they have issues like they do. People crashing because they're completely exhausted.
Right.
But
So, how many helicopters have you flown, and what's some of the coolest helicopters you've been in?
actually,
I mean, you've already said you've been in a Black Hawk. That's pretty cool itself.
Black Hawk, Bell 407, which is most of the medevac are those, and they're flying about 150 miles an hour, 160. Those things cook. It's kind of like an upgraded deal I was spraying with, like a 206 Jet Ranger, flown a Long Ranger, Bell 407, and I've been in an Augusta 109. Never flew it myself, but I really haven't. Also, I've been in a Huey, which was
That's awesome.
my favorite helicopter, a 212. It's a twin engine Huey. But an Instrom too, which those are piston engine. They're kind of goofy things, but not as many as I want. I mean, I guess if you love helicopters, you want to fly as many as possible, and there's so many helicopters out there that I haven't even touched.
Where are most helicopters made anyway? Is there a lot made in the U.S.? Like U.S.
A
company
few, not as much. There's a
manufacturers?
lot. Europe too makes a lot. So a lot
European
are made out
companies.
of country. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. So now I'm gonna be doing medevac, and I'm doing powerline patrol for PG&E or so I'm doing that. Just get out of that, don't ag. So
Can helicopters fly upside down?
certain ones can.
Really?
They don't, but they're not a steady
It's
upside
not steady
down.
upside down.
I think your kids are getting body slammed out there or something.
I guess.
No, so like the Red Bull, you've watched that, haven't you?
Yeah.
They can do a temporary
That's
like
awesome.
barrel or loop.
What
But they can't
helicopter
just sit
is
there and
that?
fly. Dude, I can't remember. I can't remember who makes that helicopter. You don't really see them anywhere.
Yeah.
So for medevac, are you gonna try to get hired on the same place or a different place?
I actually got hired. Did you know that? Did you not know?
I didn't.
I
know.
got hired on Merced.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, so I've been commuting to work hour plus, hour and a half for
Get a little trot over there.
12, 13 years between those different jobs. And yeah. So to drive 12 minutes to work is going to be trippy. Plus, on top of that, medevac is like lazy man's job
Yeah.
for the pilots.
Yeah.
Because you're just a transportation, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you get night calls and you get woke up in the middle of the night. Oh, okay, go start the helicopter, fly to LZ. It's cool. Like I shouldn't say cool. It kind of sounds bad to say that, but like it's cool because if you get a scene call, there's a wreck. You're landing sometimes you're landing some hairy places because you've never been there. It's dark. You're tired. Everybody's kind of out of it because you're tired.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to really be careful because you're responsible for these other people. I've landed in some places up in the hills. There's like, man, dude, like you go around because I've kind of, be honest with you, doing crop dusting, like being a cowboy type of style flying, if you want to say that. You're flying the same fields over and over again. So you do it in the nighttime. It's really not a big deal. Sounds crazy spraying at night, but it's not. You got big flashlights, floodlights. You got a lot of lumens pointing out there you can see. And, but now you're going somewhere where you've never been.
You can't see.
You can't really see, which now they have night vision goggles. That helps a lot. But it's still a little weird. Even with night vision goggles, you can't fully because you really can't see the wires.
Yeah.
So I've had to come down and you circle, and I thought, oh my goodness, when's that guy going to land? I would have landed already. I'm thinking of it as a crop duster would. But now being in those situations, I'm like, dude, I almost can't circle enough because you're using that floodlight and that spotlight to look and look and look, make sure before you go down there.
Yeah.
There's no poles somewhere because that's really what you're looking. You can't see the wires.
Yeah.
You're looking for the poles. Okay, there's a light tower. There's got to be something getting power to that. You just going slow, And that's at night, too, more so. But yeah, it's kind of different. It is different. Yeah, I'll give them props. And the other thing is you just can't get rushed. That's the kind of job where you like, I gotta get down there. I gotta save their life. Well, you ain't saving their life if you're dead or killed the crew.
Yeah.
And that's when I got interviewed. that was a 4-panel interview, and I haven't interviewed in years, but they were asking like, are we a transportation company or a life-saving company? That's a total trick question. I
Right.
said, well, be honest with you. I said, really, we're transportation, and my job is to get people from one spot, point A to point B, as safe as possible.
Yeah.
Because if you, dude, people, I've had the nurses screaming in the back.
Yeah.
Fly, can you fly this faster? This person's dying. It's code blue, blah. You know, they're freaking out in the back. And not most of them didn't. Most of them stay composed. There was like certain times, there were certain ones, they just were not well under pressure. They know this person's dying. I can't fly any faster. I'm flying max. The helicopter can only go so fast. But it still creates a tension in you. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I got to come in there and land super fast. And bam, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You cannot let that. And I told them that. I go, you don't react like that. I go, you come in, you land, and you get the helicopter on the ground safely.
Yes.
That's all I can do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do something like,
Yeah.
what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Like you said, it don't do no good if you kill yourself, your crew,
And the person.
you know, because and that person's also gonna die. So, yeah, that's a good question on there.
It was a very good
really.
question.
Yeah. Yep. You especially
if
you
I wouldn't
have
have
to
had
keep your cool
experience,
head, right? You wouldn't have known.
I wouldn't have known that,
Yeah.
that thought, but I've already had them. Like, oh,
I mean, if something don't get you, you know, tensed up or worked up like somebody you're trying to save alive, you know, nothing will. So obviously, somebody's behind you screaming, "This person's gonna die." Yeah, inexperienced or whatever, even normal people are gonna get worked up. You can't do that, you know, in your
No.
position.
Yeah.
So
well, it just died.
yeah.
Camera died. So sorry to be so long.
You guys have anything else you guys want to ask or no? I think we ran through it pretty good. So thanks everybody for listening to this podcast. Hope you enjoyed a kind of an inside look to Titus and his journey flying helicopters and where it's taken him, what he's been through. And we hope you guys come back and listen to some more podcasts. We got a couple more topics we want to talk about, and we'll see you on the next one.